All right. Let's see. Can you hear me? Hey, MJ, Chad. Oh, ups. Look at Chad spamming me over here. Stumps, Cassandra, you made it. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, Magic. You're here too. Great. Okay. Oh, wait. I'm all fancy over in the OBS. What? No. Ah. Okay. Ah. Goose. As you can see, I'm all fancy. Why is this not working? Okay. Let's start over. There it is. Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm all fancy over in the OBS today because, well, I want to do some fancy things with the homeroom drop today because it's tied intimately with CHINO 23, which you can support in the descriptions below. Let's get into the good old savings throw. No. Welcome to the lost prodigal stream and branding.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension of not only sound and vision, but that of a hive mind, a journey into a virtual land of both shadow and substance, a place where you can embody breaking the fourth wall, whose boundaries are only limited by one's imagination. Somewhere in between agency and a rabbit hole of saving throws, welcome to the Virtually Not Alone Zone.
I'm gonna have a look at you.
And now I have to go all the way over. Oh, no, that's an overlay. You have to go back up here. Oh, okay. Welcome. We now do the savings throws where you get to choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart. And if it's over 10, you take half damage from the mind control. If it's under 10, you take full damage. But remember, everybody, we want what's best for you. Our mind control is the good kind. You like it. Choose. Survivalists. That is a 6. Socialists. 6. Lovers of wisdom. Nat 1. Come on, show it. There it is. Nat 1. Hard folks, on the other hand, Nat 20. No bonuses needed. You made it. Indigo folks, it's like 2 7s. Making out. Adding each other together. Oh, wisdom today. But that heart, whoa. So, not all of you are aware, but once upon a time, three seminal figures in this little corner. Got together in a place called Thunder Bay, where I was not allowed to go. And so I submitted my speech for Thunder Bay remotely, and it was not at all included. However, I am now going to present it to you today, because I think that somewhere in the interim, Verveki may have watched it. And so here is the band presentation from Thunder Bay. From Thunder Bay. Are you saying the volume for the Vidya isn't playing? Oh no. Okay, in that case, we will do it this way. This way. We'll share this tab instead. Go back. Start over. Cut. Cut. Brandon, cut.
Well, howdy, Rascal.
Wow, guys. Thunder Bay, look at this. First, I want to thank all of you here for literally remembering to embody. It's amazing. You've given the corner a physical event that is stored in our social memory complex, which it's like a structure we can borrow identity from, like our associations with others. And it's all great. Wow. Look at that steak. Oh my gosh. Whoo. You know, I normally give my audience a savings throw versus mind control, but your actual human physical attention on me in presence like this here in Thunder Bay with the beautiful stained glass window, it has empowered me beyond my normal conception, and I really don't think you can save versus the mind control that's followed. But for those of you, are you telling me that it's still mute? Dolly, can you guys still not hear it? No, that doesn't help. You have to change it over here now. Oh, yeah. Dolly, are you telling me you still can't hear? We hear you. Oh. He's trolling me. Thanks, Dolly. Thanks for the... You who are religious, now would be a good time to take a few moments of prayer to protect yourself from the thought weaponry that is coming henceforth. Like there's some more pleasantries that I'm acknowledgments and pleasantries before I lay to waste all of your foundations, and rock you like a sunum bonum. Man. Is it not enough to make you wish you were at this Thunder Bay conference? The power in this presentation? Yeah. Hey. Thank you to the organizers of this event, because when I got the Discord invite, I was like, what? They're treating me like I'm a real boy. What? Oh, it's in Canada. I can't go because But then, through some miracle, lobster monkeys came together to put me on a boat, to shift me over the Great Lakes and smuggle me in here to this Thunder Bay event. I'm sorry I could not attend the paintball, but I am so glad to know that one of you tagged the KGB guy in the head. That sends the message we want to send, you know what I mean? So thank you to the organizers of the event and whatnot, and all of you for embodying. Johnny, we're going to talk about Alan Moore. John, really, I have this irreverence hindrance, okay? What part? Help me with that. Paul, I need you to arrange a rap battle between me and Freddie and like, I don't know, somebody like, okay, like if I totally forgot I said that. Great. Way to bring it back. If your church is Shawshank Prison, who is the red? Because that's the guy I need to talk to when I get there. You know, the Morgan Freeman fella? I'll see you soon. I just got to sell this house. All right. Well, not the house in Oklahoma. I'm in Thunder Bay right now. Okay, Rich, I'm sorry about that guy thing. It's sometimes I'm talking to the irreverence hindrance about John. Or with John. I'm talking. Sorry, Rich. Okay. Now. How long are we supposed to go? Does anybody know how long these are supposed to be? All right. The Consciousness and Conscience Conference. We are brought here to publicly demonstrate that neither a university professor, an iconographer, or a pastor can adequately explain to a young man, woman, or child what consciousness is. We're all. Remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best. Hello, I'm General Griswold Gaius-Grim, and you're watching a band presentation from the Thunder Bay Conference in Thunder Bay, Canada, not long ago. And it's because I'm about to play you from today's Pass the Ball homeroom about this next upcoming conference, Estuary, CHINO, the Quest for a Spiritual Home, where you can join me and others in beautiful Plato Regional Park as part of CHINO 23, an adjunct experience to the Estuary CHINO conference. The links and stuff are in the description below. Grown adults, 6,000 years since we started writing things down, and we don't really know what's going on. Let's have a conference about it. Okay, here's what's going on, everybody. You are a dreamer. You dream, you keep waking up here. The Aboriginals, those natives in Australia, reportedly, probably from like part of the Crocodile Dundee movie, I don't know. They call what we're going through the long dream because this is the part. Whoa, no, go here, then here. This is the part. This part right here, this part was in the band Thunder Bay speech, makes me think part of John Vervaeke's alternate timeline self tapped into this timeline self and attended this conference because as you'll see from today's homeroom, he too is now influenced by these Aboriginal thoughts. In Australia, reportedly, probably from like part of the Crocodile Dundee movie, I don't know. They call what we're going through the long dream because we keep waking up here again and again and again. It's like rather than a recurring dream, some people have those. It's a recurring reality, and it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so like once upon a time, God was all like, dude, what if I wasn't alone? Bang! Right? And then there's reality. Okay? And then there came a point when he was like, bro, I'm going to hold my breath. And he breathed it into this clay. And we keep waking up into this clay because we are God holding his breath. And And the difference between consciousness and conscience is morality. Like if I were here, if I were not here in Thunder Bay and were in my house live streaming, I could show you that the definition the Brave gives me for consciousness is an awareness of morality in regard to one's behavior. The LARPing of writing. Yeah, but you were. But this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. That there's unacceptable level of presentation failure. You know, he rolled a skill check and did not make it, and this is what happens. And were in my house, I could show you that the definition the Brave gives me for consciousness is an awareness of morality in regard to one's behavior. The LARPing of right and wrong is whether or not something has conscientiousness. Is if you can. But okay. Now, just to be clear, in future discussions of this corner that I'm sure there will be that result from this conference, I would like us to add a term to our to this consciousness and. This is very exciting. I don't remember what this guy said at all. Science ballpark of discussion. And that term I would like to bring into our communal awareness, our distributed cognition of these matters is lucidity. I remember that now. And close. And then I would run off the stage. See you, bud. Thanks for your presentation, Graham. That was very fabulous. That long dream aspect, though, I think will come into play as we're watching going through today's homeroom on our Lost Prodigal set in Mammon stream on this Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. Here's this one. Here's this branding.
The list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right? What room? I want to cast Magic Missile. A room where he's casting all these spells from. He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Now, I've bothered to load up everything in this silly ace OBAs because, like, there was parts of this that it's worthwhile to cut out these who are those people and do it as a video like this, or maybe even zoom in, like, on the guy actually talking a part of it, you know? And so I put this in OBS, but you guys can't even hear it there. So what I'm going to do now is turn off the OBS and get those things situated. I believe StreamYards will carry me through me doing that if I do this.
Hi, this is Paul, and as you can see from the other four people on the screen, we are going to talk today about the conference coming up in May, the Quest for a Spiritual Home. That's coming up in May 18 to 21 in Chino, California.
If you're arriving for the Anna Chino 23 event, you can show up as early as May 17th, and we're bailing on the Monday after.
Chino, California is about 40 miles east of Los Angeles. Chino, California has its own airport, the Ontario Airport in California, and so you can fly directly there. Tickets are available.
Wait a minute. Who is that one guy who always sounds like Bill Burr, Cassandra? Which one? We got number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the boxes.
Available, and there's a link below. But when we were talking about setting up this conference, as you can see, Catherine is involved in this, and Catherine set up the Thunder Bay conference. We very much wanted this to be in continuity and to continue the conversations that we began in Thunder Bay.
There's this adorable part where he calls them out for not talking about conscience.
Getting to the conference. So some people noted that at the Thunder Bay conference, the title of that conference was Consciousness and Conscience. And some people noted that we talked a lot more about consciousness than we talked about conscience. And so some people have suggested this will probably have us sort of fill out the card that we left unfinished in Thunder Bay. So those of you who might not know who all is in this circle, Jonathan Peugeot is obviously here, John Vervaeke as well.
For those of you who don't know the Hive Mind, we've got Gizmo, Upcycle Club, Freedom's Lunch, Cassandra, Dolly, Bo Fernelli from South America or something. No, South Africa, right? Art Honiel. Neutrino, Ansel Man himself, the guy in my branding. Oh, okay, the one from. All right. From Magic Missile. Okay. I got you.
Was our moderator.
Oh, and by the way, I highlighted 3 names during the Mute Fest. Those guys all get +4 to next saves.
Moderator in Thunder Bay, and she will also moderate in Chino. And John Van Donk, who has worked with me a lot with the Estuary program, is located in Chino, and it's his church that is giving us the facility to host the conference. And John is setting this up, and I thought John would be an important voice because in a lot of ways, a lot of John's whole life story has been a quest for a spiritual home. And
damn. Hey, this is John. His whole life has been this stuff. Hey, Chris. Hey, Chad. Special thanks for taking the time, even if you're gonna lurk, to say so, Chad, because it shows a chat activity to the algorithm that makes us all look good around here. Hey, David Walker do you think it's unwise to bring someone to a conference with little familiarity with TLC? No, I don't. Because we need the lack of village representation is something I hope to get into at the point in this. But
and I would, don't want to speak for John, but John and I have spoken about this a lot, that in a lot of ways, John is still sort of a restless wanderer in his quest for a spiritual home, taking some time on the Camino pilgrimage.
Now, I'm not sure, is what the Wanderer or some Masonic flagging? Oh wait, we got Big Peugeot here. Let's see what this is.
Wanderer. I grew up.
Dang, right at the Wanderer part, Grim.
There are some advantages in some ways to being kind of a wanderer. I grew up in several cities. My parents moved a lot when I was young. I lived in Canada and the US, and then I lived in Africa as an adult. And so in some ways I am an outsider just generally. There's an advantage to that because you can also be a translator when you're an outsider. You can kind of, and Paul, you've noticed that in what I'm doing is that in some ways I talk about the symbolic world, but I'm always bridging between the two. I keep moving between the world of the kind of scientific materialist world that I criticize, but I move from that and I try to point people into a more embodied experience. But it means that I also
You can thank Matt C in the Hive Mind for that ear-splitting.
so have the same issue that everybody has, right? I have the same issue that I criticize about the modern world, which is, I have the difficulty of feeling fully part of something and to be, kind of fully integrated into a spiritual home. And so, becoming Orthodox, for example, was in some ways part of searching for that. But in order to become Orthodox, you almost also have to deracinate yourself, and you.
Whoa, Miriam, help. What the fuck is deracinate, bro? There's no S in deracinate.
Deracinate.
Uproot, to remove or separate from a native environment or culture. Okay, thank you.
You also have to be able to be willing to experience the strange and to kind of be able to, tame a new world and reintegrate a world that isn't obvious and isn't easy. And so the one thing I can say about finding a spiritual home is that as contemporary people, we have to be deliberate about it. It doesn't just happen, like some 16th century village where you go to church, you have the parish, you've got the priest there who's been there forever, and everybody goes to confession and everybody participates, and what the celebrations are, and at Christmas we have this local tradition or whatever. All these things are pretty much gone for us, and so we have to be deliberate about it. And so for me, in some ways, it's difficult, and it's hard not to still have alienation, but it also makes whatever connection that I have very precious. And I grab onto it, and I feel like it's transformative. And so I went to Mount Athos, as some of you know, in the past few.
What? You went on your own spiritual quest? Do tell.
Weeks. And that was a mix of those two things, where I'm in Mount Athos, everybody, I'm in church with people who are singing in Greek for 3 hours. And in some ways you just feel this weird, surreal experience of not knowing what's going on and not kind of knowing. But at the same time, I was able to feel connected to the Orthodox tradition in ways that I'd never experienced before. And so I come back very much re-enlivened in my own practice, in my own prayer life, in my own faith. So, yeah.
Okay, I promise there's relevant stuff in here somewhere. About here.
The psyche is transcending, and aspect levels of reality are being reliably disclosed, and arguing for that. And I'm trying to mesh that understanding, and again, influenced by Jonathan, the idea of faith as this sense of being able to level up, if I could put it that way.
Well, I hate to interrupt you there, John. I hate to interrupt you there, John. But it turns out we have in from the Hive Mind a challenge that I hereby issue to Jonathan Pageau on behalf of Cassandra, like a knight from Grail country. I challenge you, sir, to a hair flip-off. That I'll practice for later.
Argue for right now. I think there's a deep connection, though, between cosmic at-homedness and spiritual, being spiritually at home. And part of the quest is how to weave those together and how to exact.
Oh, geez, Louise. That's not how you spell it? Am I even in the
vicinity?
What? Exaptation, right? What? How are these not words? How is exact not a word if
Exaptation.
a trait, feature, or structure of an organism or taxonomic group that takes on a function when none previously existed, or that differs from its original function, which had been derived by evolution or designed by God. What?
Where I'm at and what I'm wrestling with, and it's and I got to spend 8 hours yesterday walking and talking first with just Jordan Hall and then with Jordan Hall and Christopher Master Pietro around this, and I've been
That guy. You guys hunt down that Christopher Master Pietro fella. I want to have a fringe encounter with that fella. Oh, but let's see if jumping further ahead into this gets me to where I want to go. And that's like, let's watch Catherine. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. It's always nice. So, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not nice. Okay, let's move on.
What kind of
There
spirit
she
you
is.
want to be patterning within the home that you're creating, because it's this double-sided thing where you will create space for your spirit and other people's spirits to rest, but you also are then going to be participating in some eternal pattern. And so being conscious of what eternal pattern it is that we want to be instantiating, I think that's the flip side of the conversation that I hope we get around to at some point as well.
Maybe picking up on where Catherine left off, thinking about what happened at Thunder Bay. Now, John wasn't there, but the other four of us were. What for you are you hoping for from this conference, either in continuity with or perhaps a pivot from?
There will be paintball for Jesus.
There will be paintball for Jesus, yes.
This is why I wanted to do it in OBS, because I could watch this smile erupt on Pajot's face, all zoomed in like. But let's just zoom in with our eyes for now.
And there will be paintball for Jesus.
There will be paintball for Jesus, yes. And it won't be raining.
I really enjoyed the conference so much, because there is something, and we talk about home or talk about the sense of connection, and I think that being in the same place together was definitely a great added value to for the conversations to have a different flavor to them. And so I really definitely enjoyed that. So I think that I'm looking forward to a continuity of that, and I think in some ways the theme is perfect already. Like just the things that John Vervaeke said, I've got like, it's just buzzing. I wish the conference was tomorrow so we could talk about all those things, because
I don't know how much I'll actually go into any of it here. So I want to give you like my overview of this. Is the main topics of this particular conversation are not only the quest for a spiritual home, but that nobody I've seen has taken Chat GPT as seriously as John Vervaeke, other than Gavin. Gavin's been, apparently John Vervaeke takes Chat GPT just as seriously as Gavin does, and that's one of the emergent themes for this part. Here's Pastor Paul, though, plugging the camping with us at CHINO.
It's just like there's out journal of Alaska.
Yeah.
Again, to be in person. Even though for many of you watching this, the primary mode of connection you have with especially three of us is our images on flat screens and our voices coming out of speakers. And you might, in fact, be listening to us in your home. You might be listening to us in your car. But the opportunity to knit something else together, and for me, as we think about how we will spend the time over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Chino, to me, a priority is to make a space so that more knitting together can be done. Not, let's say, oh, you get a chance to do a selfie with one of the speakers, but you get a chance to make at least. I like John Van Donk mentioning the Camino. You get at least a chance to have a manse to locate.
Really, Pastor Paul? Really? Let's have a manse, everybody. What? That's also not a word. What is? Can you guys get in the
Vicinity
of actual words at all? Is that even possible?
For a brief overnight with a group of new people and find out what that means in terms of the bonds and bridges and connections and growth that can happen in there. One of the aspects to this is that Grim Grizz tells me there are still 15 spaces available at the campground. So those who
It's true. There's actually slightly more than that, but I was hoping to have had them filled by then. And we do have I don't know, if you're a lady and you're scared of camping, maybe there's other ladies also scared of camping waiting for a lady to share a tent with, because they're 2-person tents that we have set up by the Van Donk. And you should reach out and I could tell you about that person. And but there's and I was thinking, wouldn't it be swell of me to reserve like 3 tents apiece, so six people slots for Vervaeke people and Pajot people, and maybe charge an extra $50 a slot? Wouldn't that be a nice move on my part? Anyway, see how wonderful camping would be, and how Paul wishes he was there.
who would like to camp for this. And truth be told, I'm not going to camp because I'm speaking, and it's a little hard to prep for a speech if you're kind of up to your neck in other people camping. But part of me is, really wishes I were camping, because I know from growing up, church campouts and camping with friends, that living together in a way that we often only do when we camp outside is something that facilitates and prompts the kinds of connections that will I think facilitate the quest for a spiritual home. And
the quest for a spiritual home. You see, Pastor Paul, my reapers have brought me the clips of you singing. And so you're going to have to level up your game now. The quest for a spiritual home.
Even though, of course, you get to watch myself or Jonathan or John on YouTube, it's actually, there's always churn with these sort of false relationships with screens. You listen to Jonathan for a while, then you listen to Paul, and listen to John, and then you're over here at this other channels, and this is an opportunity.
That's a really important and exciting part you should all pay very close attention to, but not what I want to talk about. Maybe this part is
all across all kinds of interesting lines, and so I think we'll definitely see more of that in this conference.
And then I have a question from Catherine. Catherine, when you saw the tickets being purchased, was there a pattern among the people who paid for the tickets that there were just a lot of women who paid for the tickets, or were there actually a lot of women who showed up at the conference? I find a pattern right now is that
Spoiler alert, they predict the lady attendance was, they say the lady attendance in Thunder Bay was about 30%, and they predict similar. And now, at the 33rd minute of this presentation,
most of the people I actually work with are sort of religiously homeless. And as you often mention, John, those numbers of the nuns, that's been one of the very interesting demographic realities. And so this, part of what I think we've seen with the ongoing rise in globalization, affluence, transportation, is that many people, they are placeless. I don't know any of us in this. Jonathan mentioned he grew up in how many different places. I don't know how many places you've lived, John. I've lived.
I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant for starters.
Yeah, Vidunk is an immigrant. Catherine, she's got a very interesting story in terms of.
how many do you experience placeless? Let us know in the Hive Mind chat while I play through this thing you may have watched already.
Growing up all over the place with a religious family. So I think, especially seeing women in this context, women are often homemakers in many ways. Men tend to be distracted, foraging doers, and women are often centering. And so I'm really happy to see this, the beginning of what I think is probably more of a demographic balancing. I think probably a maturing of this conversation and community.
Now, oh, hey, Paul. Does Viagra treat placelessness? The pastor asked me on the stream. I'll tell you, cannabis is a vasodilator. If you understand what that means. Great, now I'm distracted. What was I gonna say?
Did foraging doers, and women are often centering, and so I'm really happy to see this, the beginning of.
What I was gonna say is, all right, Pastor Paul, Pajot, Viveki, you guys got a bunch of guys listening to you, right? You gotta get the word out that you're crafting men that women would want. That would, and then if you build it, they will come.
Of what I think is probably more of a demographic balancing. I think probably a maturing of this conversation and community.
Hope so. I know for sure that a lot of the people that come in, kind of meaning crisis types that come into the churches, they end up being guys, and then you just have these crazy lopsided churches with like in my parish, that's what's going on. It's all this like wave of like 20 guys, like coming in, and then just a few ladies. So hopefully that balance out in general will balance out in terms of people kind of entering into these conversations.
Well, maybe this brings up, I don't know if it is or not. Maybe I'll be able to connect it. But
I believe in you, John.
I'm interested in the other side of this. I'm interested in homesickness and how is that related to what's going on. I have the book. I have not yet started reading it about. At the beginning of the first half of the 20th century, homesickness was considered a major thing because of the rate of immigration into North America, and it was taken very seriously. And then there was a sort of cultural shift in which being sort of economically nomadic became recommended, and then homesickness was.
Did you just say set, John? Welcome to the Set and Mammon stream, also known as the Lost Prodigal stream. Anyway.
It looked on as a kind of weakness. And I'm interested.
What book is this, John?
If you'll pardon me for a sec, I'll go get it.
Sure. I lived part of another interesting little facet of this corner. The first conversation I had with Jonathan, we dug into, your journey in Africa.
Yeah.
And you talked about the fact that I didn't know you lived in the States for a while.
Yeah, my father studied. He studied at Denver, Colorado, at a Baptist seminary there. I forget what it's called. And then I lived in Wheaton. My dad was Wheaton grad school.
Clip that and add it to the file.
That's the title of the book.
Yeah, Homesickness.
Susan, who's the author?
Susan J. Matt, An American History.
I'm typing right now. Homesickness and American what? Does it come up with the first search? Yes, by Susan J. Matt. Click. Okay, share this. No, go away, pop up. It looks like that. It got a 4.0 on the Goodreads.
So this is not an analysis like of the phenomenon, unpacking its.
One of my favorite videos on my own channel is when I wove what Pajot was saying was the phenomenon video from the Muppets, and it was so hard not to go get it and bring it up and play it now. So let's just pretend I did.
Cognition or its phenomenology or anything like that. It's an attempt, though, to understand why we shifted culturally from recognizing homesickness as a significant and real thing that people had to be helped with, to no, if you're homesick, you're just immature, you haven't grown up, you failed to launch. And
if it's possible, using the power of this-little-corner.com for somebody to go through and have all of the times John Vervaeke says no, and compile them into a list of into shorts, we'll all be millionaires.
This is only a weak hypothesis, but part of my thinking is this is a contributory factor to the meaning crisis that we, is that people are in some sense experiencing domicide, homesickness, but they're not allowed to articulate it that way. And so they're thrashing around in other ways of trying to articulate it. And of course, this goes back to ancient themes of, Augustine, we're restless until we find a home in God kind of thing. But I'm particularly interested in.
I do not approve with what's going on over here in this hive mind chat. Okay, and now you get this branding.
Remember it. There is no agency. We want
Now let's clean it up over there, and we'll make it to the part where Pajot talks about the breeding of the nuked family I want to get to.
In the clash between these two normativities.
Oh, and if you guys remember from this, and the part where Pajot gets to the breeding of the nuked family I want to get to was already before this, please let me know.
That seem to be both spoken about in our culture as if they go really happily together, when of course they don't. Home and and family values, the nebulously useless phrase, because the Manson family had family values. So I don't know what that. Yeah, it's dependent on the quality of the family and the type of values. But there's that. But then.
I am triggered by this, and we're going to do it again.
The useless phrase, and core culture as if they go really happily together, when of course they don't. Home and and family values, the nebulously useless phrase.
A nebulously useless phrase? No, family values means that values that place family as a value. And you get the hell off at the Mansons, sir. They had more than most might have had. If you hadn't allowed Set to destroy what a home meant, right? Then people wouldn't find family with the Mansons, now would they?
Because the Manson family had family values. So I don't know what that. Yeah, it's dependent on the quality of the family and the type of values. But there's that. But then we push a culture that emphasizes, right? Like I said, being an economic nomad, and those two are like, and Etterstad has made a very good argument in How the West Really Lost God, is that it's the rise of individual people living alone is the thing that is most powerfully correlated with loss in belief in God. Take that for what you want. I'm not making a theological claim.
Okay, you want me to take it for what I want? Here's how I want to take it. Like, you're an image bearer of God, so the further separated and isolated and solitary you are, the less your image bearing of God shines the light of God on everyone else. So it makes God harder to see the less you see him shining through the faces of those around you.
It's just a straight demographic argument that when people lose extended deep homes, they lose a sense of why, a sense for God. I'm trying to speak as neutrally as I can here.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm trying to also wrestle with how, like, we should recognize that these things are actually in a profound tension, and they have a lot to do with people's spirituality. And and this overlaps with the number of close friends people's has is reliably declining also each decade. So there's something.
There's this mysterious nuking. There's a nuking and atomization of man into small controllable units.
Here about, I think, a vacillating, unstable framing of home in our culture that is also a significant contributor to a lot of the other things we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's interesting because when you say home,
okay, so this is also, it's the thumbnail is Lost Prodigal, but the stream is the Set and Mammon stream, right? Set told you to worship Mammon. It's like
home, and especially you presented it home in some ways as part of the orientation mechanism.
Yes,
and so what happens in it, even without realizing, you have this value hierarchy which says something like you go to college, and then wherever you can get a job, right, that's where you go. You just move there, and then you make a life there. It's just it's like a normal thing. You leave your home.
It's like a normalized thing.
Home, you go to college, you find your spouse there, and then you find a job, and then you go to that place. And so that this is just a normal way of functioning shows you part of the orienting mechanism itself, right? What it is that's making us make decisions, and then let's say the downwind from that is a general destructuring of these intermediate, not just family, but just intermediary structures of cohesion, like your clubs,
structures of cohesion, support networks. Like, what if all the movies had been about like how families of cousins interact with each other instead of these
your Boy Scouts or whatever, all these
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that
The
kind of
fellowship
hold
thing.
us together.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the economic vector becomes the only thing that really matters. Making money, accumulating things. Yeah, and those things buffer us, right? And the technical part, the technical aspect of the thing that we have, they're all kind of extensions of each other, right? Industrialization.
And maybe this is what we should be talking about. There's a spiritual story too. I know this is what you wanted to talk about, Nate. I think there's something going on here which is far more than just a discussion about capitalism and technology. I think something's emerging. And there are a lot of guys in Silicon Valley who think the same thing. Now, the difference between me and them is that I think what's emerging is frightening and they think it's exciting. But I wrote a few years ago, I wrote an essay in which I drew on a book by a guy called Kevin Kelly, who's one of the great Silicon Valley gurus. And it's called What Technology Wants. It's a very good book, actually. And Kelly says technology has its own momentum. It has its own telos. It's going in a certain direction and it wants something. He calls it the technium. What I call the machine, he calls the technium. And he says that it's also similar to Mumford, actually. The technium has been developing for millennia, according to him, but now it's found its physical form.
Although puts it all the way back to the
This fancy jump cut is loading. Loading. Oh, hello. Well, we're gonna do a calming meditation as soon as this loads here. Maybe we should just do it now. Oh, where my thoughts escaping. Oh, where my music's playing. Oh, maybe it's loaded now? No. Hi, everybody. Welcome. The internet says that we're done, I guess, looking at the conference call. But this thing that Pajot was describing, this breeding, this family unit that was breeding, this go out from home, make a new nuclear family, send out a new unit, make a new nuclear family. That's something that's been normalized, that there's been a weaponized normalization of that, of the pursuit of Mammon, of the worship of Mammon, and the destruction. The family has been first nuked to where the nuclear family was considered a normal thing, right? Because it's not. It's not. And there's this thing about breathing, right, that I don't know how to work into it. But it's like, it's almost, that's see, I made this silly banner to try and not forget that the villages breathe heroes. And so this quest, when you go out and get your big education at college and stuff, you were supposed to take the treasure back to the home and the family and the village. And that part has been normalized away into, as he says, chasing the career to where it leads. And I don't know, I think in the same way, cosmologically, right? Like, we're the breath of the true and the good and the beautiful breathed into this material plane. And this quest for a spiritual home is how it turns to the lost prodigal. We've forgotten the home we came for, and we can't we can't hear the welcome home call because we've become so lost. But we were sent here to bring light to this place. Maybe I don't know. It's pretty fuzzy in my head, to be honest with you. So here, have a minute of our theme song. Hug emoji. I hope to maintain an intergenerational home. Enemy, that's the holy grail that we've lost, right? The nuclear family is normal. What's not normal is detachment from the extended family. Fair enough, fair enough. And Walker and they use the story of Abraham to justify the family nuke. The family nuke. Hey, loves and hugs from Dolly, all the way from South Africa, guys. Let's send them back there. I hear it's rougher than my comfortable ass. The mythological Hestia has not yet entered into the overall home conversation. Wait, that Hestia. Well, let's fix it right now, Ups. You see, we are part of this tilk. We are part of the tilk. Watch. I got branding to prove it. I don't know, and if Gavin's around, we could call in the big guns of the chat GPT that apparently we're about to be warned about by John Vervaeke. But
yeah, keep Dan in the dark.
About that. Oh, wait. Hestia. We're doing Hestia now. Arthanio likes talking about it. So I guess we're pleasing somebody. That's first. What the hell? All right. Internet navigation. Here we go. Quit trying to load that. It's not gonna work. We've already played that. That we just played. All right. Mance. Oh, we should wait. Now you gotta present the tab again, you noob. You noob, what are you doing? You Mance? Are you some kind of mange? A manchi? Are you a man? All right, since we've called upon Miriam so many times today, the only appropriate thing is to go through and find out what the secret message is. It's vicinity, oracular, forecast, or divine, or that resembles or relates to something used for the forecasting or divine. A foible, an auspicious, and circumscribe. Okay, holy smokes. I think equivocal was from the last one. Okay. Prepare yourselves to circumscribe this auspicious foible of the oracular vicinity. I think the most likely the auspicious foible we're supposed to circumscribe is probably the Chat GPT stuff, but it may be too late for all that. Oh, actively teaching a math class. Wow, is it that fancy new math I have things to say about? What, Hestia? Hestia, let's do it, Hestia. Internet, show me. Here, show them. No, show them. Hestia. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, Hestia, meaning hearth or fireside, is the virgin goddess of the hearth, the right ordering of domesticity, the family, and the home, and the state. In myth, she's the firstborn child of the Titans, Cronus. Oh, what else does it say? Hestia is associated with domesticity, home. Oh, so she's dead. We've killed her. And hospitality. Hestia has been replaced by a state monstrosity. And we've just discovered it here, thanks to Upcycle Club calling it out. And us here. We can go deeper into it. We can do it deeper into it if we want, but probably not today because this is the end. Thanks for the auspicious foibles. Thanks for joining us on today's stream, everybody. This Set and Mammon thing we did.
Do you have anything you want to say in conclusion?
Yes. The Lost Prodigal thing is supposed to be why we think we might be on a quest for a spiritual home, but I really think it's more about making one together wherever two or three gather and stuff. And now I'm wondering why domesticity is associated with virginity, and it's because it's about the sanctity of the womb, and then the sanctity of the offspring of the womb, and keeping those from corruption. And virginity is very anti-corruption. Like I swear, if were it in my power, every church in this nation would put out on their sign, "We need your help keeping the kids safe. Be here Sunday." But because, and thanks everybody for being here on the stream. I'll see you next time.